Hello, everyone. My name is Jean Kroll, and I would like to welcome you to the Chorus Masterclass with the director and co-director of our Champion Chorus Acapella Showcase. We're going to be hearing from Jordan Travis and Amy Patterson today. A couple of things I wanted to let you know. I am going to change the chat box so that all of the chat is going to go to me instead of to everyone. So this class, all of the questions need to go in the chat box, and I will be providing them to Jordan and Amy. And sadly, you won't be able to chat amongst each other for the remainder of the session until we end the class. So with that, I would like to introduce Jordan and Amy.
Da-da-da-da-da-da. Hey, how's everybody doing? All right, big thumbs up. So welcome to our Chorus Masterclass. As you probably can imagine, this year is a little bit different, right? As we all know, things are very different this year. And one of the things that we are going to be focusing on, as opposed to thinking about all of the stuff that kind of led us up to our championship year last year, our champion last year, what we want to do is focus on some of the things that we're doing online that have helped us be successful and continue to be successful, and hopefully share some of these with you. Some of the things you may be doing already, which is fantastic, but it also may give you that little thing that helps you, or that little nugget of information that you can take away that helps your chorus flourish as much as possible. So I'm going to share my screen with you, and what we decided to do was call this the ACS Masterclass, and it's, give me one sec here, and let me present here. Can you see that? Big thumbs up if you see Chorus Masterclass, the 4 Ps to great online rehearsals. As you can tell, Amy and I both love alliteration, so it's going to be the 4 Ps to great online rehearsals. And we're focusing, as I said, on those things that are really helping us right now. And this is not just from the two of us, but from our leadership, our music team, our performance team, all kind of put together into this package. So the first thing that we're going to talk about is plan. Plan is kind of boring, but it's super, super important to having great, successful rehearsals. I don't know about you, but I know personally, these online rehearsals are just that little bit harder, take a little bit more work, a little bit more effort than some of our rehearsals that we've had when we're in person. So planning is become very essential. And I love this. If you don't know where you're going, you're going to end up someplace else. So I want you to think of a 3-month plan, a 1-month plan, and a 1-week plan. That's kind of how we do things. The 3-month plan is like the big scope. What are we going to be working on skill-wise? Who are the people that we may bring in? And I say 3 months, but it's kind of 2 to 3 months, kind of in there. So I know that if I want to book somebody to come in to work with the chorus, provide a coaching session or a warm-up, I want to contact them as much as I can in the future to ensure that we get them at our rehearsals, right? So that's kind of the 3-month, the big picture. The 1-month plan is, hey, what's happening in this 1 month? If we're bringing someone in, maybe I'll remind them, hey, you remember this date? Just make sure that you're there with us. But also looking over the scope as to what is the music that we're going to be working on over this 1 month, and what are the skills that we want to work on, and how are we going to break that up over the month? And of course, the 1-week plan. What are we doing next week? And that's kind of what's underneath here. Some elements of the rehearsal, some technical aspects, things that you can take away that requires that extra planning. So some of the elements of our typical rehearsal, and this is again that 1 week, is obviously we want some kind of warm up. So be it physical, vocal, mental, or all of the above. And one of the things that Amy will talk about in a bit is how we've engaged other people in the chorus to help us with some of these things, including warm up, physical, vocal, mental. And the next thing on the list is purpose-driven singing. What does that mean? It means that when we're singing through a song, I love to give a focus or a purpose for people to be working on. So as opposed to just singing through the material every time with no sense of focus or purpose, let's give a vocal skill or a performance skill or a musical skill to kind of focus on while we're singing. And if you've ever worked with me before, you know I love kinesthetic stuff. So getting people moving, getting action. And I find that if we can do that, then as a director, I can actually see what people are doing. And for instance, if I ask people to get out their directing hands and direct along with a piece of music with all the dynamics, well, I can see if we're in line or if we're not. So this is a wonderful way to help that. And then I can provide some feedback. Another thing about plan is anticipating musical issues. And if you're a leader or a section leader, you may know, hey, there's a few traps in here that I know our chorus is going to struggle with because, frankly, when I sing through, I'm struggling with it. So let's identify those things early and anticipate some of those issues and then talk about them, right? That gives us something to work on. Plus, in addition to that anticipation, I've also went to, hey, what are your struggle spots? I've asked the chorus that. Where are you struggling with this piece of music? And they give me all the answers, right? They tell me, this is where I'm struggling. And I go, perfect, let's work on that next week. So that gives us it gives us a plan. It helps us build a plan. In our rehearsals, we often have modules of learning. So maybe focusing on a vocal skill, ensemble skill, or performance skill, theory. There's so many different modules, and oftentimes they're just 5-10 minutes long, but we also sometimes bring in people to teach us about these modules of learning, which is wonderful. I mean, this is one of the big pluses of Zoom rehearsals has been connecting with people all around the world and having them be part of our rehearsals and helping us out. Breakout rooms for participation, and Amy will talk a little bit more about participation in a moment, but breakout rooms and allowing people to come together to maybe discuss an issue, discuss something. If we played a recording, they can talk about that recording, or sometimes it's just about connection, just about having an icebreaker and connecting with one another. And of course, in terms of plan, those technical aspects of rehearsal. So in terms of the weekly, I communicate that plan every week to the chorus. So they know, here are the songs that we're going to be working on. And sometimes here are the skills that we're going to be working on as well. And then, of course, practicing your Zoom skills. So if I know for me, I've been practicing all the time, but if we have other people on our Zoom or members who are part of it, we want to make sure that they are comfortable and that they can practice some of those technical aspects. And lastly, and I know we're zooming, little pun. I know we're zooming through this fast, but we have a limited amount of time. We want to make sure we give you as much info as possible. At the bottom here, it says online chorus rehearsal template. And we've had a number of people say, I just don't know what to do. So we've created this template that you can modify, you can change, but it kind of gives an overview of a lot of the elements in our rehearsals. And this is going to be emailed to you or able to be downloaded after the fact, after this. So this is a kind of a giveaway for you to take and go, hey, this could really help our chorus in terms of giving a bit of a template. So no plan really works well without having great personnel. So I'm going to pass it over to Amy, and she's going to talk a little bit about personnel and what that means to us as a chorus.
Thanks so much, Jordan, and it's great to be here with so many of our Harmony family members. Thank you so much for watching the class either live or perhaps later when it's recorded. So I'd like to talk a bit about personnel and how that can help in our online rehearsals. So by personnel, we talked about...
Hey, Amy? I'm sorry to interrupt. You're kind of hard to hear. Is there a way to get closer to the microphone?
I certainly can, and I can make a little audio adjustment.
Thank you. We definitely want to hear what you have to say.
Okay, is that better?
Yeah.
Awesome.
Thanks.
See, there you go. Technical assistance from the team, from the personnel. So we talked about we are smarter than me, and we are stronger than me. So we realized that as a team, whether it's a leadership team, the music team, or even as the entire chorus, there are members in our chorus with skills that are perhaps untapped or haven't been used as much as they could be. So we're going to talk a little bit about how to use those different types of personnel in your chorus. We broke it down into talking about the leadership, the music and performance team, and the members as well. So from a leadership standpoint, Jordan and I work quite a bit behind the scenes. We talk regularly, weekly, sometimes in the summer it was every other day, to work on planning the rehearsals, work on ideas for the rehearsals, work on what kind of warm-up should we do, what kind of music should we be doing right now, what's an effective way to teach online through Zoom right now. So we discuss all those things on a regular basis. It's really important to, right now especially, build on that community, build on that relationship with all your members. So if you are a leader in the chorus, and I know many of you are doing this already because I've heard from some of you, it's so important right now that we're reaching out to our members, whether it's that regular weekly communication to everyone, whether it's personal connections through emails or phone calls, that kind of thing. And it's amazing how much that really can lift someone's spirits when they realize that, yes, we are still chorus community, we are still functioning as a unit, and we all matter in this chorus because we are stronger than me. As well as sharing regular communication. It's really important as leaders that we are supporting the leaders up and coming and our music team, our current leaders that share the responsibility with us. It's really important that we support our music and performance team in building their skills and developing as stronger leaders within the chorus. That could be through music team meetings. That could be through brief meetings about how to effectively use Zoom, how to effectively run a sectional. So we want to be constantly in touch with our music and performance team and helping them grow and develop as leaders as well. As far as the music and performance team, as I said, we can help them with sectionals. We can help them, like, how do you do a sectional over Zoom? So we've had some discussions about techniques you can use, things like that. And as far as support, because we don't want to just say, here, do a sectional, we've given them ideas for how to perhaps run one, how to break down that time, because it's so different when we're doing a Zoom like now. And unless we have that feedback, I can't hear you, then we don't know. We're talking to empty space, an empty room. So knowing those things really helps our music team and our performance team to grow as leaders and to share all the wealth of knowledge and skills they already have with the rest of our chorus. And one thing that we've tapped into more now than even before in live rehearsals is tapping into our many members in the chorus and finding out some of the skills they have. We've encouraged our members to, if they would like to participate in our Zoom rehearsals, whether it's through leading a warm-up, maybe it's a physical warm-up or a vocal warm-up or a mental warm-up. Those have been interesting, and I'll talk about the participation more a bit later. But not only encouraging them to participate, but giving them, again, some skills, some support in doing it, and I'll talk a bit about that later. It not only helps us to tap into our members and to build them and to build their self-confidence and to help them share their gifts with the chorus, it also helps them understand the work involved behind the scenes when we're trying to plan rehearsals, plan activities. Even a 5-minute warm-up segment might take a lot more planning than it might have done in a live environment. And finally, I guess another main thing I wanted to say was that as far as the personnel, it not only gets others involved, it gets us knowing one another better, and it really builds that community, and it builds a stronger community. So now I'm going to jump into participation, and we'll talk about that a bit more. Here we go. Thanks, Jordan. See, we're a good team.
I forgot that I had to do that. I'll be honest with everybody.
This is why sometimes we all need an assistant. Thanks, Jordan.
Absolutely.
So what we talked about with participation is that it's so important in our community to provide a place for our members to speak, to engage, and to have a voice. So it isn't necessarily always about engaging as a leader or taking on a job as part of a task of rehearsal. It's helping them have a voice. And of course, we know Harmony supports this fully. And so we broke that down to participation during rehearsals and participation outside of rehearsals. because again, all of our members are different. Some would be more comfortable to lead an exercise on Zoom, and some would be more comfortable to perhaps organize something behind the scenes, which is fantastic. So during rehearsals, there's a number of things we've tried, and getting to know your own chorus, you'll know if some of these, give them a try, and if they work, keep going. And if not, maybe try again in a couple of months. We make use of the breakout rooms on Zoom. And if you're not familiar with them, do some Googling and find out about breakout rooms, because they're a fantastic tool. It's an opportunity for small groups of any size you select to come apart from the Zoom and have your own private meeting time, special meeting time. So it's always with a purpose. We always make sure it'll start in a positive way with a focus of some kind. Sometimes it's an exercise, like we've watched a video of a performance and we're given a sentence starter or an idea to go with and discuss. Sometimes it's just about what was something that made you smile this week, or what was something funny that happened this week. And we get to hear from each other in our small groups, 5 or 6 or 8 or 4, whatever it is. We get to hear about some things and we get to share that joy and laughter together. Another way we've used breakout rooms is for icebreakers or conversation starters. So as I say, just as an opportunity to chat with others. It's really great to have a focus, especially if you have some guests coming in, because then, if everybody's on the same page, everybody can answer, oh, what's your favorite song? Or what made you smile this week? Because that makes everyone at ease and everyone has something to contribute, even if they don't happen to know anyone else in your breakout room. Another thing we tried that we learned from a chorus out west was leading a campfire song or doing a warm-up. So by members encouraged to lead a campfire song, they're singing a common melody. Generally, it was one that many in the chorus knew, or sometimes it was even just a fun repeat after me song from camp. And that was really great to see, because we had members step up and lead one of those that we never thought would have got up in front of the chorus, certainly not in front of a live audience. So in some ways, Zoom gives us that advantage that people will be willing to jump in and try. You never know. And again, with that support. So if someone says, Jordan or Amy, I'd really like to try it, but I'm not sure, is this song good or would this song be better? And we're happy to have those conversations. Again, supporting our members, helping them participate and to be successful. That's really important. So we're not just delegating jobs. We're saying, we'd like you to try something. What's your idea? Great. We're going to help you. We have some tools to help you do that if you'd like. We also do things like polls or questions of the week. That's another great feature on Zoom. We've had theme nights. We've done things like Canada night. We've done the Halloween night. We've done Bold Lips night, where even Jordan got some interesting lip color on, and that was fantastic, And it's just a great way, again, connecting over Zoom and having that laughter together and those smiles. And, it really helps build the culture and just help us feel closer to each other when we can see each other laugh and be silly and do all those things, right? We've also had what we call a pre-glow and an afterglow. So we'll open the rehearsal about 15 minutes ahead, and people just come in when they do, and they chat about different things, which is great. And then, of course, the afterglow, after rehearsal ends, usually the chat, it remains open, and Jordan or I stay on, or sometimes both of us, and people are just free to chat about whatever they'd like. And sometimes it's been 10 minutes, and sometimes it's half an hour or longer. And people are free to get a beverage of choice, or for some of us, a bowl of ice cream, and we'll just sit and chat with each other and catch up, which is really important, because when we're in that Zoom together for the hour or hour and a half or whatever your course chooses, we have to remember that even like during this class, there isn't that opportunity to chat to each other. So it's super important to help our members participate just by having those connections week to week. And then very quickly, outside of rehearsal, we've made sure that we are helping our members participate with their voice. So Jordan conducted a survey about what would you like us to stop, start, or continue with our rehearsals? And based on that feedback, we were able to perhaps revise some of our practices. In some cases, we reaffirmed that, yes, this is working, and we continued with it. One of our board members, runs a weekly coffee hour on Sunday mornings, and anyone is welcome to come. And again, it's just a time to chat. Sectionals, again, are a great way to get together, both socially and also to do some perhaps work on music or to review some things. And of course, as I was saying, regular ongoing conversations with members. So our board has been fantastic at that. They kind of will divide up the chorus in groups from time to time, every couple of months, and they all have some people that they are certainly responsible to call. I mean, obviously, friendships and things already exist within the chorus, but we really wanted to ensure, and the board wanted to ensure that no one's being missed. So they set up a way to make sure that people were regularly communicated with, and perhaps they meet in a Zoom during the week, perhaps they phone each other or email, that kind of thing. And Jordan has been doing an outstanding job reaching out to members, not just the members that are on screen, but we have some members, like every chorus, that for whatever reason, they're either not comfortable coming onto Zoom or perhaps don't have the technology or who knows what. But he's making sure, okay, they're not at rehearsal. He's making sure he's phoning them regularly or emailing them regularly. And yes, that takes time, but again, it's all about investing in our community and building up our community. So with that, I pass you back to Jordan.
Hey, thanks so much, Amy.
Hey, can I interrupt here before we move on
Please.
from that slide? We
Yeah.
have a number of comments and questions that I want to put out there. First, Linda Hilco says she 100% agrees that leadership needs to support others in the chorus to learn and grow.
Awesome. Yeah, 100%. So important.
So Dan Zanetti, I suspect that might be Diane Zanetti. If you're, by the way, if your name is wrong, you can rename yourself in Zoom. That could be helpful. Diane Zanetti wants to know what % of your chorus members participate in the Zoom sessions?
I'd say that on average, we have somewhere between 75 and 85%. So we have a number of people who don't participate at all for whatever reason. So as Amy suggested, we have a couple people who they actually live in the country and have terrible internet service, so it just is not viable for them. And they don't really want to do the phone-in thing. I get it. We have a few people whose jobs mean right now that they're Zooming all day. So they're Zooming 7 to 8 hours a day, and they just have computer fatigue. Totally understand. So we have some members like that. But I'd say on average, somewhere between, of the members that are coming on regularly, we on every week, we get somewhere between 75 and 85%.
Oh, Jordan, I accidentally muted you. I went to admit someone and someone else admitted them, and so it jumped into Jordan, and where I clicked on it, it said to mute. So you have to unmute yourself, it says.
Unmute. All right.
Okay, joys of technology. It's all good.
we get it. Don't
Understand.
feel bad. I always joke and say that technology is fantastic until it's not, right?
Yeah.
So we all know that. So yeah, I'd say that's around the percentage, and frankly, that's about what we would normally get at a in-person rehearsal.
Yes.
So it's not bad. People are going to be away for a variety of reasons. So but that's about average. Yeah.
So the next question from Betty Gunterman is, can you give an example of what you do in section rehearsals?
Yeah. So a couple of things. Actually, I might pass this over to Amy, but one of the things that I said earlier in terms of the plan, the struggle spots, that's an amazing tool for section leaders because your section will tell you where they're struggling, right? You ask them and they go, well, I'm struggling in these three, the biggest spots. We're not asking for every spot. And I joke with the chorus and say, please don't say the notes, the words, and the rhythms, right? So I want specific measures where you're struggling. And that gives you, as a section leader, a ton of information, most of the information you need to help them, especially on Zoom where you may not be able to hear. But Amy, why don't you field a little bit more about some of the things that people do in sectionals?
Sure, and I'm happy to give a specific example. That's a great question. So for example, as bass sectional, because basses are most important, and with a piece like Change the World, which is a fantastic piece, and we're grateful to Harmony for gifting that to all of us, it certainly has some rhythmic challenges for many parts. So as for the bass section, we found out again, like Jordan suggested, what are your three main challenges, and there was some overlap. So what we did as leaders of that section. We broke that down and we said, okay, we're going to work on bar A to B, and we would just go through it. So it might be listening to the track first, but I find it's really helpful to have a live model. So, for example, I would sing out that rhythm even on one note, and then ask them to repeat on mute. So there's that kind of back and forth and interaction. But I find when we can take it out of the context of the learning track, if your music leader has that music leadership, section leaders have that skill to do that, that's really helpful. A lot of things that you do in a regular sectional, actually, modeling, repeat, model, repeat, on one note, on just the bass line, that kind of thing. In your case, if at your chorus, if you happen to have two people in one house that sing two different parts, brilliant. Borrow your lead for that baritone rehearsal and say, can you just sing live this part? Can you slow it down? Because there's great things we can do with live people. And then secondary parts can sing along too. Shouldn't say secondary.
And
other
to say that
parts.
we are fortunate that we do have that in our chorus,
Yes.
and we utilize that almost weekly.
Yes.
So it's a
Yeah.
great opportunity for us. We recognize that not everyone has that, but I think
Mhm.
it's more figuring out what do you have, what tools do you have at your
Mhm.
availability. Okay, let's use that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you. Next is a comment from Chris Hembrell. She says, I want to comment on breakout rooms. The way that these work has changed since the start of the pandemic, and they're much easier to use now. So if someone has tried this early in the pandemic and found them frustrating, you should try again, because Zoom has improved the way these work.
Oh, 100%.
I agree. And I think that's true. Sorry, go ahead.
No, it's okay. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, like with any technique, or even if there's any of these things we're suggesting, I would say try it once. If it doesn't work, try it again in a couple of months, because who knows what may have changed. Maybe you as a Zoom leader have more confidence in running the I'm thinking in French now, sorry. Having the activity.
Try that, but I don't know how many of us will understand.
Well, and I think the other thing with the breakout room that has been really successful, when we've just put people in breakout rooms and said, hey, let's have a little break where you can chat, where we've not necessarily given a focus or a purpose to it, then you really don't know what's going to happen. And that kind of maybe leads us into this last slide of positivity, the fourth P. And for us, that's kind of been underneath everything. And what we wanted to create was basically a safe and stable and positive space for people to be. Because frankly, that's why they come to chorus. I mean, it's not the only reason, obviously. People want to sing, people want to harmonize, people want to connect, but they want that safe space. They want that place where they can be and they can sing and they can enjoy. And so, in terms of the purpose, books like The Culture Code have written about this, and other books similar to that. And they say that one of the things in organizations that people value the most is safety and stability above all else. So that's Daniel Coy. If you want to read a great book, it's fantastic. And the kind of the phrase that has been leading me through this pandemic right from the beginning is, what can we do versus what we can't do? We all have seen all those articles and things that tell us what we can't do. And if we focus on those, man, we're going to get pretty down. But if we focus on what we can do, it's amazing how much we can do on Zoom, and how much joy and how much we can bring to people's lives, even in this weird connection, right? So I think of when I think of positivity, I kind of break it down into two halves. One is personal, meaning me, and one is collective. What can I do for the chorus and help? So in terms of my own personal positivity, I always think of providing hope and fun and humor and stability. That's it, right? And I'm not talking about false hope. I'm not going to say, hey, we're going to be singing live next week. That's false hope. I'm saying I can't wait for the day, or I can't wait for that time. And I know, depending on where you are in either of our countries, you may have that opportunity now. I know we don't right now. So we need to continue to provide that hope, and that helps me. The second piece is really important, and that is to not always share all of your personal challenges and concerns with the entire chorus. I'm a human being just like all of you, and although my persona online and everything is super positive, because generally I'm a pretty positive person, of course I have times when I'm down. Of course I have times where I need to be picked up. But I try to seek counsel in other different places. So some might be chatting with other directors or other leaders. One might be chatting with other friends who may not be in the chorus, right? Just to kind of talk things through. And Bureau and the Music Leadership Connection has been a really wonderful place for people to kind of share ideas and thoughts, and musical leaders. Sometimes it's just watching an inspiring TED Talk, and that kind of gets me going. Journaling, writing things out, or just taking a walk in nature. But and I'm not suggesting that you never share those things. Obviously, we want to be vulnerable and we want to share. But if we're creating a situation where the chorus feels unstable or unable to kind of share what they're going through, it's going to be tough, right? So as a leader, I think that's really important. And secondly, creating collective positivity. And this is, everything from choosing the music, like all the new music that we're looking at, even the music that we sing, we're choosing uplifting music. We're choosing things that have a tempo, a pulse, that make us smile. Even little tags, if we're going to sing a tag or learn something or a campfire song, they're almost always a pick-me-up. So last year, if you were at ICC, you probably know that our ballad was On My Own. We have not sung that since the pandemic. And it's not that we don't want to sing it. It's just that that's not going to be helpful right now for our membership because we are that way. Sometimes we feel that way. So what we want to do is focus on things that bring us joy, things that uplift us, things that make us feel great, especially after rehearsal. Choosing fun activities that raise spirits. And for some of us, after rehearsal at the Afterglow, we raise spirits, but I guess a different type of spirit. So it depends if you grab your glass of wine or your coffee or your ice cream. I mean, or all of the above. That's cool too. Guiding discussions. So as Amy said, when we have these breakout rooms, giving a purpose, like saying, hey, what is something that happened that made you laugh or smile this past week? Or what is something that happened positive in your life over the past couple of weeks? You can guide the discussions so that they're more positive rather than down, because all of us have those things that are down. And yes, we need opportunities to share those things too. But rehearsal for me is trying to create this positive, uplifting space. And then lastly, modeling and making suggestions to other leadership, like on our music and performance team. We want everyone to have that opportunity to share and to be a positive leader to others. So this is kind of the last thought, which is before more questions, which is your turn. Mm-hmm. So we talked about plan, personnel, participation, and positivity. And the question that we have for you is, what can you do, right? So if you're a chorus member, you may go plan, well, I'm not part of the plan. I'm not part of making the plan, but you could be part of the plan. You could actually email your director or your leaders and say, how can I help? What could I take on could I sing a campfire song? Could I do a warm up? Can I help you with the plan? Are you struggling? How can I help in any way? In terms of personnel, right? How can you engage with different people? How can you be someone who becomes important to your core or more important to your chorus, right? Participation, how can you get involved in some way, in a little way, in a big way? How can you get involved in positivity? How can you become more of like a beacon of positivity, but start thinking of what can you do versus what can't you do? The more we focus on what we can do, I think the more we're going to be able to achieve during this difficult time. So I'm going to stop share, and this is the perfect time. I know we had some questions, but if there are more questions, this is a great time. I know we have some time left. As I said, we tried to zoom through this to allow more opportunity for us to be able to chat and ask questions, because I know that especially with this technology, that's been needed. So Jean, I'm throwing it back to you.
Thank you, Jordan. We have a lot of comments and questions coming in.
Cool. Awesome.
So Liz LeClaire asks, do you have unmuted singing time on Zoom?
Jordan.
Okay. Okay. Yes. So we do, and it's actually my guilty pleasure. Whenever we have a chorus member whose birthday is coming up, all of us unmute on Zoom and sing happy birthday to that person. And it is totally raucous, and it is, as you can imagine, and voices are here and there and the other. It's not together. and it's wonderful. And I always say that whoever's birthday it is, they will remember this for the rest of their life because it is unforgettable, let me tell you. But so we do have some of that time. And we have not done this yet, but I know many choruses have. And it's not necessarily part of our culture yet. But it's in sectional. Sometimes people say, hey, could you sing that through? We also have one other thing that I didn't mention, and that almost every week, Amy takes out 3 people to do PBIs. And so there is unmuted singing time where that person will have about 10 minutes to connect and sing and get some feedback. And so there is that time, but it's most of the time it's not in front of the whole chorus.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Is it like in your own breakout room?
Yeah, it's like a private little breakout room. Amy's there with 3 other people. They sign up, and it's about 10 minutes per person, and it's under glass, so the other 2 people are watching and observing and supporting. And it's been a great way for people to continue to develop and get feedback on a weekly basis.
Yeah.
That's a great idea.
Yeah.
Amy, Donald has a question about if you're doing anything for guest nights.
Like doing guest nights, or
Everybody froze.
Yes. I think
all right.
that's the question.
I'll field that because it looks like Amy's internet just went. So we've had a few guest nights. We've done a couple, and often on guest nights, what we'll do is we'll put the music up so people can follow along and sing along with. We may have more of those sing-along or campfire songs so they feel more connected. We'll still do the breakout rooms, but the breakout rooms are often more connection-based versus like watching something and then discussing, because then everyone can participate. The biggest thing, the last guest night, there was a director of another chorus who came on, and she said, the breakout room was the best ever because I just felt like I could have a voice, I could participate, and I could share in a rehearsal as opposed to just being talked at the whole time. And so that is probably the most valuable tool we have.
Awesome. So Chris Hembrell would like to know if your chapter has purchased the Zoom program or are you using the free software?
Purchased. Yeah.
I think
and
it's that for breakout rooms and other, features.
Yeah, and it's pretty reasonable if you purchase it for a year at a time. So if you purchase it per month, it's something like $20 or a little bit more. If you purchase it for the year, it's actually like $14 a month. So it was more reasonable. The other thing I would suggest is if you're close to other choruses and maybe share, right? That's what we've actually done is that we share a Zoom account with another chorus. So that also reduces cost if cost is a problem.
As long as they don't rehearse on the same night.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you want different nights if you can. Absolutely.
All right. Pat Morais wants to know, what do you do in a coffee hour?
Okay,
Amy.
so the coffee hour is pretty casual time. Weekly, the reminder goes out to all the members. Hey, 11 o'clock Sunday morning is our coffee hour time. And anyone who would like to comes together on the Zoom, camera on or camera off, and it's just a time to chat. There's no planned agenda. It's just a time to grab your coffee, perhaps with a little Bailey's in it, maybe not. And we just get a chance to chat to each other. And often it's not even about chorus stuff. Imagine that.
Thank you. Kristen would like to comment that our chorus also does the pre-glow and afterglow, and it's a great opportunity to connect with members.
100%. Yeah. The only negative thing I'd say, and it's not negative at all, is the pre-glow. If you're on early enough, it's good. But if you're on close to warm up, it's cacophony over here, right? Because we have a bunch of members and everyone's trying to talk. So that's why the breakout room later on actually helps us, because it gives a little bit more focus. But you know what? The generally people that really want to chat sign in early enough or stay after for a little bit. And very quickly it goes down to, somewhere between 5 to 8 people. And that's tends to be pretty good for chatting.
So do you do breakout rooms every rehearsal?
Every rehearsal,
Yes.
100%. Yeah, I will never miss a breakout room, because the connection is so valuable. I think it's the human connection, and that's one of the things that we miss the most right now. So we need to provide that. And so I think it's for us at least, and I shouldn't say for us, it's super important. And I would say that you need to know your chorus and whether it's as important to your chorus as it is to ours, but it is very, very important. Yeah.
So if it's not a sectional, is it just randomly assigned?
Yeah, it's almost
It's
always randomly
choice.
assigned. Yeah, we do a lot of our sectionals happen outside of rehearsal time, like a one every 4 to 6 weeks kind of thing. So the sectionals don't typically run in rehearsal. So it's easier for the host, which for me to kind of just do the randomizer in terms of the breakout rooms, and that's been really helpful.
And how many people do you usually have in a room at a time?
Depends on what we're doing, but generally 6 to 8
Mhm.
is good. I find that if it's more than 8, it starts to get loud again. It's harder for people. So 8, 9 is usually the maximum. 4 to 6 is usually the minimum, somewhere in that range, depending on the activity that we're doing.
Very, very nice.
Yeah.
Diane Dixon wants to know, what is the poll or question of the week?
Well, it changes. So sometimes it's like on Halloween. I did one where it's like, "What's your favorite candy?" So you can kind of go, "Oh yeah." Now I knew chocolate was going to win. Let's face it, we all knew chocolate was going to win. But I thought Tootsie Rolls would at least get higher votes. But but it's things like that. It's usually something silly. We actually don't use that every week. It's more every once in a while. It's usually for fun, but I've
Yeah.
used it to find out some really cool information. So we asked the chorus, where do you normally sing, outside of rehearsal? And we found out that most people, the higher percentage, sing in the car, right? So, well, that tells us a lot about how we may have to do things to help them learn. Because if they're sitting down, if they're not able to focus 100%, well, what can we provide them that helps them? What resources can we give them? So we found out some cool information through that too. So it's different things, and it's most of the time it's usually silly. Sometimes it's, hey, in 2 weeks we want to do a theme night. Here's a list of 5. Which one do you want? So they get to vote, right? So it's that kind of thing.
Nice. So Pauline Jimenez wants to a clarification of what you said about the Ann Bureau resources.
Yeah. I don't know if there's anything to just to say that they're available, and that especially for leaders, to have like kind of like roundtable opportunity to chat with other directors. It's a wonderful opportunity. She also has put out resources for choruses, to different people that will do warm-ups or classes and things like that. That's a different resource, but that's a resource for choruses to pick up.
You
Am I wrong?
referenced it in a slide.
So specifically it's about that. It's about, hey, there's this music connection which allows directors and leaders to take part and to chat with each other and kind of talk about, here's what's going well, here's some of the things I'm struggling with. Are you struggling with it? What solutions do you have, kind of thing? But there's also a resource which has been sent out, I believe, to all of Harmony, which says, here are some people who are able to do classes, warm-ups. So if your chorus is looking for someone, here's a list of people that are saying, yeah, I'll do it. I'm more than happy to help. So some great resources coming out.
Yeah, and just to jump in and add to that, so it's the Harmony Leadership Forum, I believe it's called, and it meets, I believe it was bi-weekly. Now I think the next one is early December. So Anne has a mailing list of, hopefully, she hopes, all the directors and assistant directors in Harmony Incorporated. So if you are a director or don't think you're director or assistant director, even music team and performance members, if they want to get on that mailing list so they get those updates and those flashes from her, contact Ann Bureau and she'll be more than happy to get in touch and give you the
100%.
information. Yeah.
Very helpful. Thank you. Debbie Dodge says Travis and Amy are true champions, the perfect example of great leadership.
Aw, you guys are awesome.
And I have not been reading all of the accolades that have been coming your way. And they think
Now
that
I'm blushing.
it's you and not to me.
I'm gonna cry. Oh,
Thank you.
thank you.
Thank you.
Kathy Doe says, what are you doing financially now that we can't sell tickets to performances? It's a major source of annual revenue for a lot of courses, especially small ones.
Oh, 100%. So we've done a few things. One is that we created something called virtual members.
Oh no, he froze.
He froze. So then I can, oh, here he comes. You're back, Jordan.
You're back.
Hello, am I back?
Yes.
Woohoo!
Yep.
That was quick.
If you don't talk, I will. So
it's virtual members, which basically open the doors to people who maybe their courses aren't running right now, or some of these people are from farther away and have become virtual members of the chorus, and they're paying a small monthly fee to be part of the chorus. We just finished a fundraiser where we did something called McMillan's, which is kind of like goods and things like that you can purchase online. And it was highly successful. We ended up earning thousands of dollars through this program, which blew our minds. Big props to Deanna who hit that up. We do something called FunScript, which are gift cards, and those cards get emailed directly, or I should say mailed directly to people, and they can order them online. It supports the chorus. I know other choruses do that same program or similar programs, which is fantastic. So there are opportunities for people out there. You kind of have to think outside of the box a little bit, and you have to know what your regulations are, like in terms of wherever you live. So if you had a product coming in, could you deliver the product? Do people have to come? What do you have to think through those kinds of things. I heard of this choir, and it's not us, and it wasn't a barbershop chorus. It was a choir who did a drive, where a bottle drive for, beer cans or wine bottles or spirits and things like that. And they made thousands of dollars because all these people donated those empty bottles. They took it back and they got the, 10 cents a bottle or whatever it is, and suddenly had thousands of dollars. So there are different ways that you can think outside of the box that can help. You just need to know what's available in your area. But it is important, and it's difficult. You could also ask if you have like a really strong, you could create a virtual show if you have like videos from past performances and things like that, and you can compile that. You could sell tickets or ask for donations. I think there's a lot of different ways that you can do those kinds of things. Yeah, but you have to think outside of the box a little bit.
Great, thank you. There's a comment. If you are in Canada, you can apply to Sing Canada Harmony to get a grant to cover your Zoom Pro subscription.
There you go.
Great.
And Joanne Chrism said there are platforms other than Zoom. Some of them are free, similar but not identical, could be worth exploring.
Yeah, there's stuff like GoToMeeting and a few other things that you can totally use. We use Zoom just because everyone seems, and when I say the word Zoom, I basically am using that as the term to talk about any platform that you use online. One platform that I'm looking into right now is called Jamulus. It's an audio platform, and it really significantly reduces lag, so you can actually sing together online, but there's lots of setup and stuff like that. But something to look into.
A couple people have asked, how long are your rehearsals?
Until people fall asleep, usually.
Yeah. When we first started, we were cognizant of people and Zoom fatigue and this whole new platform for us, and we know the planning that goes behind it. We started at about 60 minutes, and as time went on, we've extended it to 90 minutes, and that doesn't include the pre-glow, the 15 or so minutes before, and the who knows how long after. And members have, like I said, Jordan put out the Start, Stop, Continue survey, and we're hearing our members. And if many of them had said, you know what, this is way too long, again, knowing your chorus, knowing your members, and yet encouraging them, because it's so important, I think, to stay connected, even if it's every other week, to keep doing it.
Yeah.
So we have reached time. I just opened up the chat so people can chat. There were a number of people who put in stuff about Ann Bureau's various resources, and so if you wouldn't mind repeating them for everybody, because they just came to me. And I really want to thank Jordan and Amy for their time. Obviously, there is a lot of engagement in this topic, and we super appreciate all that you've done to share your tips and tricks with us so that we all can have better rehearsals. And the thank yous are flowing in.
Wow. Thank you so much. You know,
Thank you.
I think like all of us right now, if, like I said earlier, if we could focus on what we can do, we can achieve a whole bunch. And so keep focusing on what you can do, and surround yourself with people that are doing that as well. Like Ann Bureau, in terms of saying that the Musical Leadership Forum, it's wonderful if you're a director, or if you are a leader of a chorus, and you want to be part of that, let her know. She thinks that you're on the list, so that's going to be really, really important. There was a question about choreography. We're not really teaching it right now. That may change.
That's not true. He'll show the chorus video from last year of Night of a Thousand Eyes, and he's like, "Okay, everybody, full choreo." And then depending on who's more engaged, he'll like spotlight them. And oh yeah,
That's
he's
true.
a taskmaster. Don't listen to him.
Occasionally we do get people crawling on the floor, so it's pretty impressive, I must say. But honestly, yeah, we don't really focus a lot on choreography right now. That may change a little bit, but it's hard to see it. It's hard to think of what that would look like. But still, we do focus on movement. So we talk about that every week, getting people to move, even if it's just kind of feeling that in their bodies, feeling that flexibility. Yeah.
Very great information. Thank you so much for your time.
Our pleasure.
Thank you.